Welcome to Broken Wing Widows podcast. This is an introduction, very informal. My whole channel is going to be informal and non-professional. You'll see. But this is sincere and it's based on personal experience. The idea of the channel is to warn people who've lost their spouses, particularly women, but not only women, because it can happen to everyone. Mostly it happens to women. When you lose a spouse, all of a sudden, you have all of these people and entities coming after you, trying basically to get money out of you. That's the idea. And they see a widow and they think, now, what's the purpose or the meaning of the broken wing? Evidently, this is a saying amongst nefarious creatures, amongst nefarious bad actors. I didn't know about this. Some friends of mine who have contact or had contact with that world told me about it. I said, how come everybody else knows about this but me? There's a saying amongst bad actors, people who are criminals, basically. Stomp on the wing of the broken bird. What does that mean? It means when you see a bird that's injured, like a widow or an orphan, widows and orphans, right? Widows. Those are the people you go after because in their weakened state, they're easy marks and you'll be able to take advantage of them without too much effort. And people actually do this. You know, every religious tradition that I've ever heard of talks about widows and orphans, and the idea is you protect them, you champion them, you take care of them if you have to. You know, if they have no other means of support, you're supposed to take care of them. The church teaches this. Islam teaches this. The Jehovah's Witnesses definitely teach this, even though they don't follow it all the time. More on that later. Actually, a lot of people don't follow it. It doesn't matter what religion you are. But in any case, that's what the channel is about. It's designed to help people avoid some of the pitfalls that I unfortunately have fallen into and was led into, and in some cases very narrowly escaped some of the worst abuses that came my way. So that's what the purpose of the channel is. I'm doing an introduction because if there's one thing I really can't stand, it's YouTube videos that purport to be about a topic and then they go on for ages and the introductions. So this is the introductory video. This is what it's about. It's designed as a warning and information for people who are vulnerable, like widows. Other introductory matter is I live in New Jersey. I grew up in South Jersey. I went to Rutgers College a long time ago. I'll be 66 next month. I lost my husband in 2022 very, very suddenly. And here he is. He was an Episcopal priest. That's us at my 60th birthday party. He was an Episcopal priest and he was a very, very good heart. He had, everybody has issues, but he was a very good hearted person. He lived and breathed to serve the hungry and the homeless and, people who were down and out. And he really wanted to help people in those conditions. That's what his whole focus and aim was. Maybe I'll do a video just on him or a couple of videos just on him because he had an interesting life. What happened was in 2002, and I was working at a private school making almost no money. I mean, literally almost no money. But I enjoyed it. It was a religious school and I kind of enjoyed it. But anyway, it was a Sunday afternoon and he had a big, big garden in the backyard and he had a bit of a temper. Yeah, it was pretty big. He had a short fuse. And if something went wrong, he would start, banging around and stomping around. And I knew I didn't want to deal with it. So it's 1 o'clock and I'm coming upstairs or coming downstairs to do some laundry for the week, to wash my clothes for school. And I see him, he's still on the sofa and he's kind of sitting there looking like he's half asleep. He was sitting there like Abraham Lincoln with his hands on like this, with his fists on his knees, on his thighs. So I'm thinking, oh, he fell asleep. The TV's still on. So he fell asleep watching a movie and he drowsed off. So he's like half asleep and half awake. And I've done that a million times. Half asleep, half awake, and I'm kind of like this, right? And that's not, and it was very usual for us to sleep in different parts of the house because it's just the way things were. Um, so I go downstairs and I said, Terry, you got to wake up. You're going to be mad at yourself if you don't put water on your garden. You're going to want to water the garden. I know you. I know how this goes. I don't want you to get mad, not at me, but at the situation. Go wake up. So he won't wake up. So I go over to him. I can't believe this happened to me. I hear about these things where people find their spouses dead on the sofa or something, and I thought, oh, that's so terrible. It happened to me. Happened to me, 2002, June 5th. So I go over to him and I go like this, Terry, wake up. Other shoulder, Terry, wake up. Terry, wake up. Terry, wake up. And then I kind of slapped his thigh, like boom, a little bit with a little bit of force, nothing. And then I made the mistake of touching his hand. What I say a mistake because his hand was like an ice cube. And that's when I realized, oh, he's not asleep. Something is really wrong here. And then, of course, I, called the EMTs and did all the things you're supposed to do. But according to the medical examiner, he had been dead probably in the middle of the night. Probably, I estimate, given the text conversations we were having and the timestamps, I'm estimating right around midnight Eastern time. We live in New Jersey, so Eastern time, midnight. So there's a lot of weird things that happened. I think I'll make a separate video on weird things that have happened since then and during that period of time. It was really kind of interesting, but the theme is really avoiding exploitation. And I've got 10 different ideas for 10 different videos. And after that, I'm going to see if other people can chime in and we can tell other people. Well, I've got other stories from other people already. And I'm not going to use their real names because, privacy. I'm going to make up names for the people's whose stories I'm telling. And I'm not going to out anybody. Not that it's outing. I mean, they didn't do anything wrong, but sometimes people like their privacy. So, that's the way it's going to be. And that's the introduction of the Broken Wing podcast. And welcome all of you. Take care of yourselves. Be especially careful out there, like they used to say on Hill Street Blues. See you soon.